Good evening, everyone. So it's Miss Leyna. I'm here again, and tonight we're going to read the second section of the Diary of Mary Driscoll. Monday, April 12th, 1847, Skibbereen, County Cork, Ireland. All around us, the landlords are evicting people. The Dailies had their cottage tumbled down 3 days ago. 'Twas brought to the ground in the wink of an eye. A frightful scene there was. Mrs. Daly was racing about, clinging to her doorpost, the only thing remaining of her home. Ma fears we will be next. If Mr. Hughes takes our cottage from us, we will have to turn to the poorhouse for relief. Ma says she will never allow that. She says those who go in do not come out alive. I can hear her sobbing at night, although I dare not stir. We will be happy in America, God willing. I can hear it in Aunt Nora's letters. Wednesday, April 14th, 1847, Skibbereen, County Cork, Ireland. Ma says it's counting our blessings we should be. Unlike those around us, we are not ill. The Sweeneys are suffering from the black fever. Their youngest son has already died from the looseness, and only 9 he was. Monday, a beggar woman came with her 2 young sons. She was covered only by a filthy sack, and her mouth was stained green from eating grass. I was in the field looking for herbs. I was thinking that the 2 boys might be up to no good. They had the wild eyes, darting this way and that, trying to see if anyone was around. Ma was alone in the house. Dad was off in hopes of catching a fish. The beggar woman sat down on a pile of stones to rest. She looked tired, and her face was as white as a cloud. The boys threw themselves into the pigsty and began gobbling up what the pigs had left. Ma came out to see what the noise was about. She hollered for the boys to leave, but they just stood there. Finally, their mother rose up from the pile of stones and told them to stop. The woman turned to Ma and asked, "Is there a bit of bread for the hunger?" She said her husband had been killed by a runaway horse, and she held up her arms to show the loose skin hanging from her bones. Ma told her she had nothing to spare and sent her on her way. I dared not look Ma in the eye. I know how hard 'twas for her to send the poor woman away. Ma has always been the first to help a neighbor in need. Not all that has changed. All that has changed. We must watch out for ourselves. Thursday, April 15th, 1847, Skibbereen, County Cork, Ireland. It has been 2 weeks since Dad killed the pigs. That was the last meal that could be named such. What I wouldn't do for just 1 spoonful of potatoes and buttermilk. 'Tis food that fills my dreams at night. A big bowl of overflowing with bubbling stew. Thick chunks of fish bobbing up in between large pieces of carrots, onions, and turnips. I barely have time to give thanks. But when I lift the first spoonful to my mouth, one of the chunks of fish turns into the head of a terrible snapping turtle and bites my lip. I awake terribly hungry. When I get to America, I will eat and never stop. Thursday, April 22nd, 1847, Skibbereen, County Cork, Ireland. I have bundled what little I have. I fear 'tis not enough. The voyage can take a month or more. I have said my goodbyes and called on everyone we know in the village. Maureen said she will miss me dearly. She is as shy as a flower, that one. A true friend like her I will never find. Mr. Conley talked about what life in America would be like. I don't know how he knows about America, since he's never been outside Skibbereen. Mrs. Conley made me some dried oatmeal cakes for the voyage. She said they will taste just fine dipped in hot tea. She gave me woolen stockings to keep my feet warm and a sleeping gown that closes in the front. Mrs. Conley said that she was after speaking to any number of people, and she knows 'tis hard to lie in your sleeping berth and try to hook an eye from behind. Not a word came from Dad all night. He just sat there smoking his pipe. He's been like this since Kate left. Father Mullaney provided the blessing. By the time the Conleys and Father Mullaney were gone, Ma's eyes were brimming with tears. She searched my face with a look so fierce I could feel the heat. I am thinking she wanted to make sure to remember what I looked like for fear we would not see each other again. I sat down on the bed next to her. She held my face in her hands and smiled. She told me she would miss me awfully, and that she had prayed to sweet Jesus every night that we would not have to say goodbye. But, she said, these are terrible times, and there are too many sad memories here already. I told her I was not afraid, although I surely was. She said, "'Tis a strange and far-off land I am going to, but to be sure, the Holy Mother of God will watch over me." "Remember," she said, "the blessed Lord would never close one gate without opening another." All that night, Ma's words sounded over and over. How much I will miss her. "'Tis Mr. Naveen taking me in the morning. He still has his horse and cart. That way we would not have to walk 30 miles to Cork. We leave at first light." Atlantic Ocean. Friday, April 30th, 1847. Cork, Ireland. There are more people on this boat than in all of Skibbereen. I swear to Almighty God there are. They are everywhere, running every which way, carrying their cases and dragging their frightened children behind them. 'Tis all I can do to make sure I am not trampled underfoot. There was quite a scare when we were boarded. I was huddling against the inside wall of the ship with my bundle to my chest and humming the lullaby Ma always sang to me when I was a wee girl. On the wings of the wind, over the dark rolling deep, angels are coming to watch over thy sleep. While I was humming, one of the crewmen came by carrying a long pole with a sharp nail sticking out of one end. He poked the stick into the dark corners of the ship and called out, looking for something he was. Soon he was joined by 2 others who used hammers and chisels to break open some barrels. They turned one of them upside down. A man was hiding inside. He cried for help, and they let him out. He begged them to let him stay on the ship. Fell to his knees and pleaded for mercy, he did. Said he didn't have money for his ticket. They laughed and put him ashore just the same. I gripped my ticket tighter, pulled my bundle closer, and set out to find a place to sleep. The berths were jammed top to bottom. I feared there was no place on the ship for me. I'm thanking the Lord a man and his wife saw my sorry state and asked me to join them. Mr. and Mrs. O'Donnell are from Killarney. Mrs. O'Donnell has shiny red cheeks and blue eyes like Ma. They are going to America to be with their daughter Alice. Mrs. O'Donnell says that Alice is almost my age. She is 13 and looks just like me. Mr. O'Donnell laughed. He told Mrs. O'Donnell that Alice is surely pretty, but couldn't compare with a beauty like me. His speech made me blush. They are traveling with others from Killarney. My sleeping berth is crudely made up of splintery wood planks. The ceiling is so low, only the children around me are able to stand without hitting their heads on the underside of the deck. There are crawling things in every corner. When we left port, people rushed onto the main deck to say farewell to Ireland. What's done is done, I thought, and stayed below. Until next time, friends. Bye.